Hi, I'm Mayor David Pileski, and welcome to another Fireside Chat. We're grateful today to have Senator Seth Lewis with us today to discuss his positions on home rule and his experiences as state legislator. Seth, thanks for coming to Roselle.
Mayor, nice to see you. Roselle, it's always good to represent you in the Illinois State Senate, and I'm honored to be here to share my viewpoints with the mayor.
So you've had a chance to have a term as a state representative and now as state senator. With your interactions with the communities you've represented and what your experience has been in Springfield, can you tell us a little bit from a state legislator side what home rule means to you?
There's a big distinction between communities that are home rule and non-home rule. And we write many laws with that provision that this only applies to non-home rule communities. And as I look at the communities I represent, the majority are home ruled. So I do conflict even with myself voting. The majority of my district is home ruled, while Roselle is non-home ruled. And I have to balance that. And there are many pieces, like I said, many pieces of legislation that I think if Roselle was home rule, you would find appealing.
Absolutely. Well, and I think there's interesting situations that set up, and I think we even see that playing out today with certain home rule communities like Elk Grove Village, Schaumburg, Rosemont. They're able to put in different policies in effect to kind of make local decisions. And I know we're hearing a lot about migrants and busing and stuff like that. Those communities have been able to implement some regulation on that. That's something that we as a non-home rule community don't have that ability because of the way that state law is structured and whatnot. And I think that's a good, timely example maybe of how we kind of have two different rules being played. We're all the same community. We neighbor each other.
Correct. Yeah. If one of the communities that is home ruled along the metro line decided to put in a ordinance that would not allow migrants to come off the metro station or into their metro station versus a non-home ruled community, you could start seeing the non-home rule communities be a destination point.
And I know you've done some work on your side to advocate to do away with maybe this distinction a little bit. Can you explain a little bit what you've been doing in Springfield for that?
I have. So to change the threshold of 25,000, population base of 25,000, you have to do a constitutional amendment. So I've applied, filed legislation to lower the threshold for home rule communities from 25,000 down to 7,500. Has it received much traction? Honestly, no. But at the same time, it's a concept that many have looked and asked me, why did I do this? And for me personally, even as your state senator, I think local control is better than Springfield control. And the reality of Springfield control is many of our legislators, almost all of them, the majority are elected out of the city of Chicago or collar suburbs. And do I believe what's best for my area, Chicago proper, managing Roselle, Bloomingdale, Carroll Stream? No. I think the residents should be doing that.
Oftentimes, I know we're confronted with different challenges, and I know, for instance, Roselle is dealing with a lot of things from the Illinois EPA. Yes. And that's one of the big things that we're dealing with is just the fact that we have an $80 million price tag to upgrade our sewer treatment plants because of phosphorus discharge and other requirements and whatnot. Can you explain a little bit how some of these agencies kind of operate? Because that's not something that you guys even have purview over necessarily, correct?
We do not. Want you to know I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting for you in the capital budget, fighting for everyone here to get monies from the state. But at the same time, these state agencies are directly reports to the governor. The governor does set their priorities and agendas. And we as legislators have to learn, sometimes even through our local representation in the mayor's office, as to what's going to be happening in their communities. I wish it was more transparent. I do wish it was more thought out, but it's part of the executive branch and not part of the legislative branch.
There's anything I've learned getting into this deeper and deeper is it's quite the amazing maze that we have set up. I mean, government can do powerful things for our communities, but in other instances, it can be kind of frustrating trying to navigate who is the final say in a lot of these things, right? But we're all doing the best we can. So.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Anything you want to close out on regarding home rule and what that means?
I would ask the residents of Roselle to look at this issue very seriously in how you want your community to be managed. Yes, I understand the downside with home rule is a perceived tax increase, and that your local elected officials get to do what they want with the monies. But you as the residents also get the ability to elect your local officials. So compare that to Springfield and Chicago managing the residents of Roselle. I would favor what the mayor is proposing and their responsible actions for Roselle.
Great. Well, Senator Lewis, it's always a pleasure having you, Roselle. Thank you so much. And
My pleasure,
thank you for
Dave.
representing us.
Absolutely. Thank you.